afternoon. It's always nice to speak after lunch in a warm room, at least not quite as warm as it was this morning, so try not to put you to sleep this afternoon. I want to take a minute and introduce you to Rayonier for those that aren't familiar with us. We were founded in 1926. We're about a $5 billion market cap on the New York Stock Exchange, structured as a real estate investment trust, which allows our 2.4 million acres of timberland to the profits from those to pass to the shareholders in a tax-advantaged way in a very nice structure for us. We're a global forest products company. We have three really legs to the stools of our business. The forest resources at 2.4 million acres of land in 9 states in the U.S. and New Zealand, with a heavy concentration of that in the southeast U.S. The real estate business, that's where we take some of the more prime properties that we have and develop them into higher and better use facilities and developments. Most of the undeveloped land that you see along the coast from Savannah to Daytona is owned by Rayonier, and there's a number of developments underway, industrial development in Bryan County that will a rail serve facility by Mike's company that will be coming on here in the next few years to serve the port. We have a major residential development going on in the Palm Coast area. So a lot going on in the real estate business. Most of my comments today are going to be on the performance fibers business, the manufacturing side of our organization. We're a high-end niche player in the forest products market. Everything we do is make to order, and we have a specific recipe that we do in terms of wood and chemicals for whatever the end use is for the product. You use our products every day. We're in high-speed tires, we're in diet foods, we're in ice cream, we're in toothpaste, we're in pharmaceuticals, we're in LCD screens, cigarette filters, any number of products that you use every day. We have two mills, one located in Jessup, Georgia, and one located in Fernandina Beach, Florida. The one in Jessup actually has the equivalent of 3 factories in it that all produce different lines of product. We're a heavy rail user. We move about 20,000 rail cars a year. For exports, we export the equivalent of about 50,000 TEUs or 20-foot equivalent units with break bulk and container, primarily container. And then we move about 125,000 trucks a year. Our major markets, we basically have a global footprint. Our fastest growing market by far is China. You'll notice that Canada and USA only contribute about 37% of our sales, and the U.S. is actually about a third. It's about 33%. So, and declining, and with China taking up and growing very fast for us. Ports of export. Savannah is a key port for us. About 80% of our volume moves over the port of Savannah in containers.
I appreciate that.
Do a nice job for us. We're one of the larger exporters for Savannah, and typically in the top 20 in the U.S. Jacksonville's moving about 10% of our volume. Brunswick is break bulk, and that's about 5% of what we're doing, and that's going to North Europe. And Charleston is about 5% of our total exports. I want to make a few comments today, and we've heard about it multiple times throughout the day, from the governor to the mayor to Jack Wells to even Cliff's comment, and that is I want to talk about how we can improve the competitiveness of our exports. And a key to that is our government policy and infrastructure investment. In 2010, the World Economic Forum ranked America 23rd for overall infrastructure quality. and which that shocked me when I saw that. I would have thought we would have probably been in the top 10 in the world, but for 23rd, we rank between Spain and Chile in terms of the quality of our roads, railways, ports, and air infrastructure. And basically, we're judged as mediocre compared to our global competitors. Our public spending on transport and water infrastructure has been falling since 1960s, and now is about 2.4% of our GDP. Europe has been investing for years about 5% of their GDP. China is spending about 9%. The AASHTO, the American Association of Highway Transportation Officials, estimates that we're spending about a third of the $200 billion that we need to be spending annually at all levels of government on our infrastructure. When we talk about the export initiative and doubling exports by 2015, that's going to take quite a bit of investment and creativity to make that happen. As this chart illustrates, the average weight of exports in the U.S., and this is from the WTSA, Westbound Transportation Stabilization Agreement, the ocean carriers. Average weight of exports is about twice what it is for import containers. And as this illustrates, the same number of containers sit much lower in the water than they do for imports. If we're going to double our exports, we've got to have the draft there at the Port of Savannah, Port of Charleston, Jacksonville, et cetera, to facilitate that. So, quite simply, we need deeper water to be competitive. Surface transportation is unfortunately, I think, probably in worse shape. Road congestion has tripled since 1982. The Highway Trust Fund is basically broke. The federal spending on highways, we'll see what the transportation bill is if it comes out in May or June, but most likely it's going to, the spending on highway infrastructure by the federal level is going to drop to match the tax revenues, and that's going to mean about a 30 to 35% drop in what's spent on our highway infrastructure. It's important to point out that when we're talking about matching those tax levels, we're paying 18.4 cents a gallon on gas and 24.4 cents a gallon on diesel. That's the same level that it was in 1993 when gas was $1.07 per gallon. So nothing is free. We're going to have to invest in it and spend some money if we want to improve things. The Obama administration's asking for $556 billion over the next 6 years. They're most likely going to get 230. One thing that we need to think about is trying to make better use of the assets that we have. We have among the lowest truck weight limits in the world. As this chart illustrates, you can see we're well below any of most developed nations. There's a bill pending in the Senate and the House that will help us make better use of the assets that we have, and that is that would involve adding a sixth axle to the existing trailers, which would excuse me, allow us to raise the weight limits from 80,000 pounds where it is today to 97,000 pounds. The sixth axle maintains the same footprint in terms of the weight on the roads, and does minimal in terms of braking and accident. Excuse me. Get thoughts together. Braking distances are the same with this configuration, and a higher it's proposed that a higher tax would be put on the equipment that would use this to supplement the bridge repairs. This would not be a mandate for states to do. It would be up to states and localities to be able to do it, but it would allow 97,000 pounds to move on the interstate highway system. And one key thing, and Mike, this is not a zero-sum game between the railroads and trucking. We've got more, as you heard today, the amount of freight moving on our highways is going to double between now and 2035, and we're already not keeping up with the infrastructure that we've got. So I think it's something that we really need to take a serious look at. So basically, it's going to take all of our involvement to address these issues, and we're going to have to make some sacrifices, but we need to do it if we want to be competitive in the global environment. It's my pleasure to introduce Mike Miller.